Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to RPG Maker Cola.
Hello, RPG Maker Cola listeners. Welcome to RPG Maker Cola Season 2, your premium soft drink, or a soda as one might say in America-centric countries. But are we? Only taking a statistical poll will tell, or just ignoring location altogether because it seems like our guests have a penchant for the dreamy and ephemeral, the illusory and the mystical. Now just imagine a couch and you're sitting there in a room with a few people who are part of the new wave, making some of the coolest games the world has ever set eyes on. They're sipping beverages and having a cool old time yarning about the shallow and the deep stuff. Now take that feeling and bottle it up. That's our podcast. And you better know it's your fizzy soda-filled source of content for game development opinions that mean very little in the grand scheme of things. It's your favorite RPG Maker podcast, RPG Maker Cola. I'm your host Benny, also known as Cash, also known as the Puzzle Snob, also known as holy crap, 4 great developers are here right now. And this is the place for you. It's a chill space where we get together skilled developers from the RPG Maker community to chat cordially and occasionally non-cordially about game development, game design, and probably a whole bunch of unrelated other stuff too. It's casual, it's cool, it's cola. Today I have 4 guests who I am so happy to introduce because they make clearly the best games. They're fantastic animators, developers, structural creators of worlds. Here we are just ambling about on the walkways, discovering the nuances of light reflecting off the river. A classic game here, a future classic game in the making there. And one of those sparks is a person. A self-professed avid creator of spook and monsty cartoon boys. They love to tell stories through the creation of such spook and monsty cartoon boys, and wow, did they just achieve that. Just from the art alone, the animations, the smooth tweens, the environments, the stone architecture, the cliff faces, their environments stun. They have recently released a demo for their game Resuflection, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, as a demo for all to play. It serves as the prologue to a greater game between 1 to 2 hours, but it's dense with content. You play as a traveling circus group known as the Roulette Runners, arriving at the city Horizon Bluff to perform a celebration of a mythical mirror that has the power of resuflection. But Maxwell gets himself trapped inside, and the Roulette Runners have to save him, while instead of just performing the legend, they have to live it. Each map seemed like a staggering attention to detail, clouds whisper by, spiraling through like the curls of cartoon Hercules' hair, and just so many hand-drawn animations in such a unique style. I am proud to introduce this incredible artiste, charlottezxz, ZXZ, or ZXZ, as you might say in America. Yeah. Yay.
Either of that is fine.
Yeah. Why don't you introduce yourself, Charlotte?
Hello. Oh, should I go boo? Considering the intro you kind of did about. I wasn't expecting that kind of summary of it. Hello.
Yeah. It's awesome to have you on board. Yeah, thank you. And our second guest is another one of those flickers we see in the distance on the river, just floating there. And he's the solo indie dev of She Dreams Elsewhere, a surreal adventure RPG about dreams and the extent to which they mirror reality. You play as, and again my pronunciation, Thalia, maybe?
Perfect.
Awesome. An anxiety-ridden, comatose woman on a journey to defeat the nightmares preventing her from awakening, while also finding out how exactly this mess happened in the first place. And then you also have the difficult job of confronting your nightmare. Featuring a brilliantly surreal, visually striking world brimming with mystery and detail. This guest started Studio Zavir, I think that's how you pronounce it again, in 2016. Perfect again. When they were a senior in high school, and has since worked in the realm of films, commercials, music videos, and comedy skits. The game itself is a stunning looker, featuring a stark black and white color palette, drenched in different colors of cyan, purples, pinks, blues. Forgive me if I get that wrong, I'm not a color expert, but it's just an utterly gorgeous and effective visual style that's polished to the brim, along with a great soundtrack as well. Exceptional looking, very moody. It's his studio debut video game project and set to launch this year of 2021. I'm proud to introduce this fantastic developer, Davionne Gooden.
Hello, hello. Apparently I make video games, but it's good to be here.
Yes. And yeah, and as you walk along this river, I suppose, you see a bird hop by, and then it unsheaths its wings like daggers and flies like a bandit into the sky. That's our next guest, a person who claims to love RPGs, meditation, yoga, plants, wholesome stuff, dreams, indie music, and Earth. Their plan is to make a game so wholesome that it either makes your day and or changes your perspective in life. They're developing a game called Roji's Room, or Roji's Room. I'm not sure how to pronounce again.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Directed, written, and illustrated by them, along with an original soundtrack by JS. Now, this is a game about lucid dreams, consciousness, emotions, friendship, meditation, again, the wholesome content, and adventure. So the very idea that you have a lucid dream and can change things for the better. Such a unique and interesting concept backed by incredible visuals. There's a tutorial demo available on itch.io, which is just an early 10-minute teaser, and then the real demo, which might be out by the time this podcast episode comes out, who knows, will be about 1 to 2 hours long. I am very happy to introduce this special guest and artist, Spicyroll.
Hello, hello. I hope you are having an amazing day. It's good to be here.
It's great to have you here too. Back to the path metaphor. At the end of this path, we're walking down. We stop and see the middle of the glade there's a stone with a sword sticking into it. As you reach out with your hand, it quivers before you, glowing eerily. You reach out and grab it, and it shines bright as you thrust into the air. Huzzah! It's our final guest. This developer is a moderator of the RPG Maker subreddit and is a self-professed small independent game dev. Their motto is to create fun, unique adventures for you to go on, and their game is Ephemeral Tale. It's their first release centering around 3 tenets: explore, fight, and loot. It seems like a deadly combination, slicing through with traditional turn-based combat, dungeon crawling, and loot, with a focus on customization and gameplay and loot. Say more akin to Diablo than maybe Final Fantasy. Come say, come say. The game is in early access and new stuff is being added and or fixed all the time. It's an iterative process, baby. And you gotta know that it's indeed playable back to back with a core playthrough of around 6 to 8 hours. It's a good sized game. And a side content, more, ranging from around 1 to 5 hours. Now that's sizable. It also has a playable beginning and middle and end, so go grab that right now on Steam or itch.io wherever you buy games. It's the incomparable ZServ from Dawdling Dog Limited.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here with these amazing people.
It is. Such an honor. Yeah. Thanks to all of you. Now that our audience is well acquainted, let's move on to Buzz Corner time. Welcome to the Buzz Corner. Here we talk about what RPG Maker games are getting buzz at the moment, and I've asked our guests if they can think of a game to bring one game to talk about that they're pretty interested in. They don't have to play it just has to have a game page or something. Some things, games we're pretty excited about, or games we think look good. I am going to start by bringing a game called Linus the Forgotten Games by a developer I have known about for a long time, like 5 to 7 years or so. This is a project focused primarily on plot. Linus, it's like a coming of age tale. It's more like a character study, and it's kind of really like a solo kind of focus on this one character. But what I love is just like Blue Period has this real nice penchant for atmospheric, just building an atmosphere with story, slowly building story, these gorgeous portraits, and just building just the thickness of through cutscenes, and it's an excellent game. What I've played the demo, which was a while ago, but apparently there's a new demo coming out soon, probably out by now, and I encourage you to check it out. It's a lush game. You go through different environments like horse-drawn carriages and big gangs of people sort of just having these political conversations, but also just really emotional inside. I really love the look of this game and just the feeling that it brings. It's such an emotionally impactful game. go check it out, I reckon. Linus the Forgotten Days. Yeah, I believe that Charlotte has a game to bring. What's buzzing for you, Charlotte?
So there's a game that got released on a peculiar day, actually. On Christmas Day, Mori finally released by Mori Cat.
Yes.
It has been something I remember first being teased and trailered about 6 years ago. So it's been in development for about that long, if not longer. And it has such like a distinct and surreal kind of concept with it, and the imagery of a black and white world and a light bulb in black that kind of turns on and off. And it has that kind of, since the day like I first kind of saw it, has that kind of feeling of there's obviously a lot more to it beneath the surface. Because the premise is apparently the story's already finished, but you've just got to remember what it was. And now it's finally been released a few days ago. And it's just been something I haven't got round to playing yet. But something I've been interested in playing, and now it's finally out. And I think it looks really polished, and the animation and art style is superb. And as something that's come out in the RPG Maker, I think it's definitely something that's going to be worth playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I haven't got around to playing it because I've had a busy Christmas season, but this has been going for ages. Like, Kickstarter in 2014.
Yes.
Yeah, I backed it in 2014. The estimated delivery. Now, this is a little bit of, it's got a little bit of controversy, maybe a little bit around it, but it was estimated to be delivered at May 2015, which is 5 years ago. But I think there was a Twitter post by OmoCat themselves saying that they vastly underestimated the amount of effort that would be required to create a game like this, but they've always been working on it. And they had people like Arkea from the community working on it, and Ocean, and, just really talented people working on this.
Yeah, I have heard not everyone's happy with the Kickstarter stuff, but as with any Kickstarter thing, it can go anyway, and they still worked on it over this whole time, and you can make two decisions. You can constantly spend time addressing the complaints and the feedback from backers or anyone else, or you can just put your time and energy into getting on with it, which I think is probably the better thing to do. A bit like something like No Man's Sky did, where they just kind of got on with it and they stopped addressing everything because that's what got them into trouble in the first place. It's better, time spent doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just finishing it.
Yeah, absolutely, because they just got put their head down and did it. And focusing on the game as well, it's so colourful, it's so playful. I'm just happy that it exists. I was worried that it wouldn't, but there's so much. It sounds like, from what I've heard from people who played it, they actually like it. It's not like a development hell project that didn't turn up with something nice. It seems like people like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks very interesting. And definitely one of those, there's more to it than just cute, colourful as well.
Absolutely. There's those dark undertones there, the horror stuff. Yeah, I think I'm going to stream this game, actually. I'm going to have a go. Yeah. Mori, excellent game. Davionne, what have you got to bring to the Buzz Corner today? What's buzzing for you?
Well, I played a game called, I'm totally going to butcher the name, but it's called Dépanneur Nocturne. And it came back over this past summer, and it's kind of like the breed of indie game that I've really been loving, the more I grow up, where it's it's just one session long. It takes between 5 minutes to an hour, just based on how much you want to play. But basically it's it takes place this night in Montreal, and you want to get a gift for your loved one. So you go on the last shop open at night, and she's like, hey, we got an hour till we close, so take your time, but also hurry up. So yeah, this is the entire game. It's just you in the shop, exploring it and just looking for a gift. And it's the most chill, relaxing experience ever. It's just super detailed, and the colors and the music and everything. It's just so on point, and it's like this point might come up like a little bit later in the talk, but I really love the idea of just like exploring like someone's space, no matter like how small that space might be. So yeah, can't recommend that game enough. It's like $5 on Steam. Yeah, I love it.
Excellent. Yeah, this game, wow, the colors and the shading and the little, yeah, it's got like a very, like a limited palette as well. Like there's some rooms that are completely sort of tan looking. There's some outside is quite dark, like nocturnal, of course, as in the title. But yeah, it seems like a really peaceful game.
Yeah, and I think it was also made by, I could be wrong about this, but I want to say it was made by one person too. So shout out to the indie developers doing their thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It being a low poly game, like that makes it a lot more manageable as well for one person if it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sometimes you need to work within your constraints, and if this was a single developer, then, you know, a single room exploration game, sometimes it's a good decision to make, you know, like you gotta work with what you have. And sometimes it's good to scope down and really focus on delivering that singular experience as best as you can.
Boy, I wish I learned that a few years ago.
Oh, me too.
Excellent. Spicyroll, what's buzzing for you right now?
Oh, hey, so the game that's buzzing for me is this game called Dead Function. It's this RPG Maker MV game, and my friend Killer Vinny or Queen Chameleon on Twitter, they go by Kill Idol on itch. Basically he made it, and it's just very charming. It's basically you are like a psychic who's at the cemetery at Garner Hills, and like the townspeople there or the people there are getting overrun by like ghouls and evil spirits. Basically, it's like a Earthbound-esque RPG Maker game where you blast monsters. But then the cool thing about it is that some of the boss monsters actually join your team. I don't know if that's a spoiler or anything, so I'm sorry, but it's really cool. I mean, I love the, you know, aspect of, you know, having an alternative or having someone that you beat, like, join your party, but it's a really charming game. It's sometimes funny, and the music is very chiptune-y. You know, you gotta love that chiptune, and the art style is amazing. Vinny, like, he's an amazing artist. Like, he's
I was gonna say, like, looking at it, the thing that immediately stands out, like the game that Davionne was talking about has like great use of gradients, but this has amazing use of just flat colors.
Yes.
And I think anyone learning how to do pixel art could like look at that and say like, all right, how are they pulling contrast out of this scene? Because it's just so clean.
Exactly.
Ugh, so nice.
Yeah. And I love how they've done like a fake, like a faux box art type thing, with front and back on it, like looking like an old cartridge or something. Interesting resolution, and also and the features they say including chiptune beats of varying quality. Attempts at humor.
Very aware of it.
Yeah, and I love all the looks of these characters. Like, there's a game page, there's like different like ghostly characters, zombie characters, and there's this guy with a backwards cap and a handheld camera, and then this guy with a mohawk, and it's just brilliant looking. I love the designs. It's just so simple, but yet each has an individuality to the character, and it's quite cool to see that delineated stuff.
Definitely. Shout out to you, Killer Vinny.
Yeah, absolutely. ZServ, what is buzzing for you right now?
Well, I brought in a game called Shadows of Adam. It's by a team called Something Classic Games. They are actually part of the RPG Maker community, or at least stemmed from this community. They built the game using HTML5. I don't remember exactly what they built it in, but they released it, I believe, in 2016 on Steam and on Switch earlier this year, last year, at some point. It's a turn-based JRPG, but from my understanding of playing it and from what they've told me, they loved Mystic Quest, but wished it was more like Chrono Trigger. So they just kind of got those two in a room and made them kiss, and out came Shadows of Adam.
Kiss now.
And it's got, like, one of the things it does that I absolutely adore is that in its attempt to be what they call, like, if you're someone with a job and you can't handle, Persona 5 because it's 120 hours long, and you're like, ugh. You can play this and it's 15 hours long, but you're still getting all those plot beats. Right. And one of the ways that they do this is their magic system. They don't have, like, okay, you level up and your magic pool gets larger. Everything just uses a percentage. So if you get a skill, it's always got value. And
interesting.
So that has been really interesting for me, playing it and then going like, like, how to, like, trying to see through their perspective how they would balance things versus how, someone who's dealing with scaling balances things. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a really cool game.
That's a unique way of approaching the economy of magic points in the game.
Yeah.
In the game.
Changes combat.
Yeah, totally, and progression and all that. I think I've known them as E-Rave, I think, in various forms.
Yeah, Tyler,
forums. They joined RPGmaker.net. That's my home site in 2007. So they've been doing this for a while now. So you're gonna know that they got like a bunch of experience behind their back of just being part of the community and iterating and
And I mean their main artist, Tim, I think he goes by T-Pop online. He's on Twitter, he's Pixel Groover, but he even for a while worked at like Zynga, and he learned so much there that he was then able to bring into the indie space as far as like how to build a UI that's effective. And that's something I would never think about, is like, how do you learn how to build a UI at a mobile game company and then make a JRPG? Like, that's like, it boggles my brain, but like, it's awesome. So
Zynga, I haven't heard that name in a while. Creators of such games as Farmville and Zynga Poker and
they had to clarify Zynga Poker. Very different from normal poker.
Yeah, very different. And Mafia Wars as well. Wow. Very influential game company actually. Zynga was, in different ways, especially even in the microtransaction area of things. But either way, this looks great. I need to try this out.
It's quite
good. Pixel art's really good.
Oh yeah. That pixel
Some
art.
of the art was by it's a Dutch guy. I think he's Dutch. I'd ruin his name. He goes by Seongmu online.
He's amazing.
He did like the tile set for Shadows.
Looks
and
great.
Then when Tim stepped in, he because I mean obviously dude's expensive because he does great work. So like, Tim stepped in and they kind of worked on the palette and getting all that locked in. So
right. I mean, for lack of a better word, the pixel art looks crunchy. I don't know how to describe it. It's like very it's very like dense and it's detailed and it has these outlines. I wish I was an artist to be able to describe how it makes me feel, but it just feels very compact. Like there's a lot of where the grid begins and ends, but also it's very fluid. I don't know, it's hard to describe.
Yeah.
It's very seamless.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the way it's consistent as well. It all feels quite consistent with all the tiles seem consistent with each other. It's quite nice. Thanks for sharing what's been buzzing. That's been buzzing for us lately. Now we're going to move on to our next section. We've been playing games. Maybe? Hey, you! Have you been playing games? If not, that's all cool. But if so, you can listen here as each of us talk about a game we've been currently playing or have played in the past and explain what we thought about it. I am going to bring a game called Satisfactory. I only just recently started playing this game with a couple friends, and I have played other sort of factory-ish games like Factorio and Factorio, but I'm not very experienced in this genre. But it was quite like mind-blowing seeing how the genre has sort of expanded. It's like a 3D early access game as well. It's been like in development since 2016, being played by people and iterated on, and there's mod support and all this kind of stuff. But basically you build massive factories across a land, expanding wherever and however you want. And it kind of differs from Factorio. With Factorio you have a bunch of like enemies coming at you, and like it's constantly under this threat of survival. You got to survive against these aliens that are encroaching on you every single second. Whereas Satisfactory is more like peaceful and better, more friendly to people like me who, for a lack of a better term, suck at games. Yeah, we were just playing co-op, building factories, and but before I knew it, like 9 hours had passed. Oh crap, I haven't played games this long in ages because I'm a boomer. No, I'm not, but I might as well be. Yeah, it's just like automation, and it's got a great learning curve, and it just feels really nice to play. I really love this, and I'm going to play more of it in the next few days.
Yeah, you were actually
The name's
playing
genius.
it the other night when we were messaging about the podcast.
Yes, I was trying to, I was playing it with friends, and then I was saying, in the end I'd say, guys, hey, I have to prep for the podcast tomorrow. Because it was so addicting. But yeah, that's the problem with it. But it's great. I really love this game by Coffee Stain Studios. Great
Awesome.
name for a studio as well. They also publish things like Goat Simulator, apparently.
Oh, that's why it looks familiar. Oh, okay, I see. I see why it's familiar.
Yeah.
Clever name as well. I genuinely like the name.
Oh yeah,
I think it's very clever.
the name is great.
It is, in fact, quite satisfactory.
You beat me to it.
You did it. You made the joke. It's great. Yeah, that's the game I've been playing. Maybe. Charlotte, what games you been playing? Maybe.
For me lately, Sea of Thieves. I don't know if any of you know Sea of Thieves.
Yep.
You know Sea of Thieves? Yeah.
Yes.
Genuinely the most fun I've been having with an online multiplayer game in ages, because I don't normally play multiplayer games. I'm normally playing like single player RPGs or like the Crash remake and stuff. So Sea of Thieves comes along, and I played it once a little while ago, and then I got back into it recently where it came on Steam, and it's just so much fun. It's a game that's better with friends, because the experience is completely different if you're on your own and with your own people. But all it is it's a sandbox kind of open world pirate game, and you have a ship. There's different kinds of ship. There's a 4-player ship, 3-player ship, and a 2-player ship, or a 1-player ship. It depends who you take with you or not. And you go on the sea and you be a pirate. There's other players on the server. You can be friends with them. You can sink them. Oh, all of a sudden there's a kraken coming out of the ocean. I'm going to dig up some treasure. Next thing you know, there's 2 players on your butt coming behind you, and now you're a full naval warfare. And suddenly there's a megalodon, and anything can happen. And because it's all piracy, that's just the thing of the game. And whenever you play it, you never know what's going to happen. And again, with friends, everyone does a job on the ship. Pull the sails into the wind, steering the ship, firing the cannons, all that stuff. Yes, you can have a parrot. I think it's really good, and I know it was when it first came out. It was a little bit of controversy when it first came out because the game didn't have a lot of content, and I think it had a lot of bugs. But Rare's the developer behind Sea of Thieves, and they've done a really, really phenomenal job of updating it and keeping it going. Because I think it came out 2 years ago now. And they've got a huge plan thing for next year, but COVID this year, It's kind of, with any indie studio or any studio developer, it's really affected how they work on their games this year.
But it's been a big thing, hasn't it?
Yeah. I definitely recommend it. It's on sale as well at the moment. I think it's like half off. If you want to have fun shenanigans and stupid stuff. Being a pirate on the ocean where anything can happen.
Well, and to build on your point of better with friends, one of the things that I loved when I played it was, my generation grew up on Pirates of the Caribbean. So I'm like, boys, we're going to download, Sea of Thieves. And then just everyone's like, all right, let's get right to it. We're just like, oh, we're there. We're just doing crazy things like that. And, we'll just be like, oh, they port side. And then someone's like, hey, which side is port side? And it just leads to this interesting social dynamic that you can't really get in, like, Halo or something. So that's what I really enjoyed from it.
It sounds...
the greatest pirate I've ever seen.
Yeah. It sounds really good if you can add that role-playing element to it as well. Like, yeah. But, it's interesting. What is I've been curious, what is the gameplay sort of section of it like? Is it like combat-oriented, or is it...
Yes, it's exploration, and it's also combat. It entirely depends how you want to play the game. Most people, when they start off, it's a game that, as you get experience playing it, like something like Monster Hunter, you get better at the game. But because you all have the same playing field and you have the same tools, because when you spawn in a server, you don't keep all the stuff you had the last time you played it. So you spawn in with a ship with a very little supplies on it, and everyone spawns in like that, and then you kind of find supplies on islands or steal them from other players or from other places. So everyone's on the same playing field. And if you want, you can go and look for other people and fight them, like other players on the server. Some people might shout to you, oh, we're friendly, let's go in an alliance. And you can do that. You can team up with them. Or you could team up with them, and then once you've got whatever you're doing, let's say you're getting some treasure or sinking the other player, you can then equally turn on them, or they can turn on you and start sinking your ship. Absolutely anything can happen. And the community is genuinely really, really good.
Great.
Absolutely. There's no solid objective. There's things you can do in it, like set ways to find treasure and bosses you can do. There's like world events and things. There's like a big fleet of ghost ships you can go and sink, and any other player on the server can go, oh, I'm joining on that, I'm going to fight them as well. Or let's team up, or whatever happens. It's just like anything goes. It's really something you'd have to see and experience to get it, but the experience for a new player and a seasoned player is that learning curve, because you have to do absolutely everything. So raising the anchor, changing the direction of the sail to catch the wind, steering the ship, and it gets more complicated the bigger the ship, basically. There's more jobs to split. You have to communicate and teamwork.
Well, and like like you're saying, it's rather freeform, but there is also if I recall correctly, the last time I played, the long-term progression was kind of more like a traditional MMO, like reputation grind. Like you went and you collected this treasure and you brought it back and you gave it to them, and then they'd be like, okay, well, you did the thing, so here, have a parrot, except now it's dead. So like it's like a skeleton and it has glowy eyes, and then people see that and they're like, oh, that guy kind of freaks me out. Like, leave me alone, man.
There is that. There's the progression, like Zerv's saying. There's factions in the game, and gold and treasure chests. You've got to deliver them to the gold hoarder. I think monsters you kill, like skeleton dudes, you got to give them to this lady, Order of Souls. And then there's a merchant faction when you go around delivering supplies and chickens. Go capture chickens and snakes and things off islands and deliver them.
Oh man, I forgot
and
about the chickens.
Yes,
Oh.
chickens. There is like a softcore goal of you want to reach the status of Pirate Legend, and Pirate Legend is basically you're level 50 in all the factions. Reaper's another faction that's specifically player versus player, and it comes with the thing of as soon as you raise the flag, so you raise the flag to represent your faction, any other player on the server can see where you are, so they know when you're coming for them. But the trade-off
You just come rushing in.
Yeah, you come rushing in, or they can come rushing at you because they know where you are at all times. Once you hit level 5 Reapers, when you gain enough value of treasure on board, whether that's from other people or doing things, you can see where everyone else is with the flag up. So it has that trade-off. But the softcore goal is to reach Pirate Legend, and then you do Althena stuff. But other than that, it's just have a fun time being a pirate, and whatever happens, you know, absolute chaos. You can have, you're in a storm, and all of a sudden you get krakened, and then other people are coming in, and you're taking on water, and the lightning hits you, and you die, you know. It's crazy stuff, because you got your sword out, and it attracts lightning. It's like Zeus wants to condemn you to the ocean or something.
Wow.
Anything can happen. It can be absolute chaos 1 minute, and the next minute you're just chilling, vibing on the boat, fishing. And then, you know, anything can happen, basically.
That duality of tones, yeah. It reminds me a bit of a game I used to play called Puzzle Pirates. I don't know if that rings a bell for anybody.
Does ring a bell.
It was just like everyone had their own job to either build or, you know, or to do the sailing or to fight on board. Like there were several people online, and that you had different roles as a pirate and kind of. But it was like the only thing that probably, it was like a pay to play kind of model. So it was like a bit, but I played it as a kid and sort of just like build for hours upon hours. It was kind of, a bit terrible to my, you know, fueled by my RPG kind of tolerance to grinding forever. So so I was kind of
Skinner box got you.
Skinner box, yeah.
Exactly. Davionne, what games have you been playing? Maybe.
It's just like this random like obscure indie game that came out not too long ago. It's called Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, it's
Was it based on that movie Blade Runner 2077?
Yeah, actually
I've been
Ryan
calling it, like,
Gosling's in this one.
I'd be calling it like Cyberpunk 2049 at points. I'm like, no wait, that's not what it is. No.
But yeah, it's fine. That's really like the best way I can describe it. It's like I have various thoughts, as they say, but I'm enjoying it. It's very immersive until everything breaks, and everything kind of breaks every like 5 minutes. So that's kind of a bummer. It is
My
fun
buddy
though.
was actually he was playing it the other day, and he was doing some early mission in the game where you have to get in a car and you drive like somewhere, I don't know. And he's driving, and somehow he got stuck in a wall, and then the car was like trying to push itself out of the wall, but then it would like teleport back into the wall, and he was just going back and forth. He had to reload a save. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It was like, what is happening?
Yeah, that's just kind of Cyberpunk for you. It's just like at least most of the glitches are like funny, like that at least.
Yeah.
And I'm playing on PC, but I have had a few like crashes and like other big stuff. But I don't know, like I'm enjoying it, but the biggest thing for me is just like there's kind of like a cloud hanging over like my playtime with it, where like, you know, this isn't a spoiler, but like in the story there'll be like, oh yeah, corporations, like we can't let them control us, they just exploit all of their workers. And I'm like, yeah, but then CD Projekt Red, the developer, did that to their own developers, so I'm just like, all right, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's been a whole like talking point too, is that like they before the release they, you know, said, okay, no crunch, we're not going to crunch on this game, and then they very clearly crunched, and it was not enough.
Yeah,
they were like, we're not going to do it. Just kidding though.
The what they did with the marketing, well, the lack of, a complete absence of marketing for the older generation consoles, as a big point of contention at the moment. Because from what I've seen, it literally does not run 10 FPS, maybe less, on the older consoles. It's not very acceptable.
Yeah, I kind of lucked out where I was gonna get the Xbox One version, and then I got a new ultra wide monitor like a few weeks ago, and I was like, if I'm gonna play this game, it's gonna be like on the ultra wide. So dodge that bullet.
It's very lucky. Very yeah.
Wow.
Well done.
Well, and to go back to the point that Charlotte made about marketing and all that, like, that's actually one of the things that I like about how, in general, not always, but like in general, how Nintendo approaches it. Because, like, you look at Majora's Mask 3D, between the announcement of that game and the release, it was like 3 months. And in general, that's how they tend to do things, like with Animal Crossing New Horizons. But, like, you know, they also do, like, Metroid Prime 4, where, like, they announce it and then 7 years pass or whatever. But, like...
Don't tell me about Pikmin.
And, like...
Suffering.
And Joseph Anderson had tweeted this tweet on Cyberpunk Eve, and he said, you know, something along the lines of, like, remember, it's just a video game. You've got 7 years of hype and, like, no expectations being properly set. You're still riding off of, you know, the high of Witcher 3 and the legacy that it set. Like, you can't go into this game with that expectation or it will, like, destroy you. Yeah. And I think that's where, like, a lot of people ended up, like, even, you know, CDPR, you know, they just, I think, bought into their own hype. And here we are.
Yeah.
Wasn't the first announcement of Cyberpunk back in 2012 or something?
It was like, wasn't it like right after Witcher 2 came out? Because I think they announced it by saying, like, we'll make it after Witcher 3.
They had that image of a woman kind of surrounded by cops, and she had like robot arm extensions, which, as far as I know, is not actually in the final game. But it was more like a proof of concept, I think, that they put forward. There was no actual game. It was just a high quality render.
Pulling a Square Enix, I see.
The Cyberpunk.
It's just like, this is what the game might look like. Have a look.
Yeah.
We think, have a look at this CGI thing. And I mean, you got it's very ambitious, and like, everyone loved the flavor of it. They loved the idea of it, and it's like a game that, you know, it felt like an idea that hadn't been explored before. So that's why people were so hype about it. Because, like, wow, cyberpunk stuff, you know, it's like in an open world setting. Like, I can't remember many games that have attempted that sort of thing.
Fallout.
Yeah, I mean,
oh yeah, Fallout. Yeah.
The only one that I can think of is like Human Revolution. Kind of attempted that,
right?
But they just, instead of having an open world, they had smaller, more open sections, kind of akin to like Dishonored.
In a way, I feel like that kind of would have, like, I like that approach a lot more, like, just in general, because the thing about like Cyberpunk is that, like, Night City, it's like very big and like very full of like things, but like you can't really like do anything with those things. It's just more like window dressing.
Right, like, you know, wide as a lake, deep as a puddle.
Exactly.
And it kind of reminded me of the launch of, say, GTA 5 or something like that. Except GTA 5 didn't have like a ton of bugs at release, I think.
No, it was fairly bug free. I didn't enjoy it much, but it was fairly bug free.
In terms of scope and different kind of, this is interesting, and wow, big scope, big story, you know, and everyone's hyped for it, and it was the similar level of hype, I felt.
Yeah, after like so many years in development, like there's no way you were able to meet everyone's expectations, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and all the beautiful work they put into the window dressing means absolutely nothing in the immersion if it's constantly being broken by the bugs you're facing.
Oh, yeah. If they're like one of their number one sells is immersion, then you know, it's quite. It would imagine a bug-free experience of Cyberpunk 2077. That might have been it would have been received a lot better, I suppose. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the
It would've
biggest
been-
thing of an RPG as well, is just to immerse yourself in a world, especially a first-person RPG thing that they were going for. And then the next second, you're riding a motorcycle upside down and the cops are all flying in the air or something ridiculous. Don't know if that happens, but from what I've seen, it probably can.
That actually did happen to me.
Oh, well, okay.
I mean, to be
Might
fair,
as well in some kind of
cops
fever
flying
dream
in
of
the air.
polygons.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a game. Spicyroll. What game have you been playing? Maybe.
So I got an Oculus Rift S like a few months ago, and I was like, yeah, damn, this is so awesome. I'm so immersed in everything. And then I kind of got bored with all of the games, and then my friend's like, hey, try VR chat. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm very sociable and I like meeting people. And in the pandemic, we can't really like go out and meet people. So VR chat is a game where you are an avatar and you can change your avatar and you can explore many different worlds that people have created and basically meet people all over the world and chat around and hang out and play games in that world. So it's been really fun. Like, it's super addicting. Like, it's like so immersive and addicting that like when real people come into your space and like, hey, what's up? And you're just like, wait, what? you're here? I forgot you're here. And then like it's awesome. You meet so many amazing people and have so many different memories and do so many things.
Yeah, like a couple of my favorite YouTube channels are centered around VR chat. Actually, like there's one where a person interviews people for interesting stories, and meanwhile they're just going deep into their kind of trauma of their past as a Winnie the Pooh avatar or something like that. It's like, yeah, my father, blah blah, like, and they're like, I don't know, Ugandan Knuckles or something. But like it's like something awful. Like, oh yeah, it's just like it's really ridiculous the amount of different types of people that you'll find on this. I haven't actually tried it, so it seems like that kind of. And there's there's a lot of potential for comedy and but also serious moments, I suppose. Right?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely different kinds of people in VR chat, and you tend to just like gravitate towards those you like to hang around. Like, yeah, I don't know, it's just basically freedom. You can be anyone who you want to be and people won't know who you are in real life. I mean, sometimes that can be a danger, but you can obviously one of the biggest rules in VR chat is that assume everyone's a guy. But I mean,
that's a good rule.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just funny. It's a grand time. If you ever get your hands on VR, definitely try it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, VR chat. Great game.
Social thing?
Social thing?
It
Does
is a
matter?
game because you guys can actually like say explore a horror map together, and you have to like figure out the puzzles, how to leave and stuff, this and that. And it's a multiplayer game as well.
VR escape the room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
I've seen some funny clips of people like sleeping in VR chat and stuff as well. Like there's sleeping rooms. It's like,
they really sleep in real life. Yeah, it's funny.
yeah. You can see them and then you talk to them. Hey, what you doing? They're like, shh, I'm trying to sleep or something like that. It's funny.
That's how immersive you are. You're sleeping in real life.
Sleeping with the headset on.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's great. Yeah. And speaking of groundbreaking games of immersion and community, ZServ, what have you got to bring to this playing games maybe corner thing?
Well, recently, a few months back, I met a group of new friends through Destiny 2, and then we started playing other games. And one of those games has been Minecraft. So I bought Minecraft expect during like alpha or something. And so, you know, coming back with every major update that they add to the game has been an interesting experience, as it's a kind of, one way of viewing it would be Legos. Another way of viewing it would be like a procedurally generated sandbox game with some RPG elements, but also kind of not. And you are a block man and you fight block things while making block animals do things to make block babies. And like it's a unique little game anyway. I'm sure everyone here knows it very clearly, but you know, we've been playing that because they just released a new update for one of the other worlds in the game, the Nether, and I mean, that's just been a blast. I mean, it's been a good time to like look at that and see how the game has evolved over time, and especially because like I've played it with mods in the past, and it's interesting seeing how many of those ideas end up making it into the full game, just, you know, tweaked to be more user friendly or friendly for I guess you could say casuals, but you know, like just less obtuse. So yeah, I mean, it's just really interesting going back to that.
Yeah. Minecraft was such a, sort of seminal game, and its influence and its sort of how it kind of. I just remember playing it for the first time and just being wowed at how open it was and how I could go, wait, I can build a little tunnel in here and sort of make a little makeshift, I hadn't experienced that type of thing before. And then of course all the sandbox games came after, like every single one. Like
Minecraft has been, not just for games, has been a huge effect culturally and on the YouTube space. Like Minecraft gaming was huge. A lot of people made their careers in YouTube from Let's Playing that game. And I know PewDiePie and I think Jacksepticeye and a few others also made a huge thing playing that game. And it's also been used in real life as well. People have recreated landmarks and places in the world in Minecraft for people to experience them and map them out. It's quite crazy what else it's been used for other than just someone randomly playing the game.
And
yeah,
I mean, like to build on that, like I know that there was some country, I can't remember what it was, but they like their government built a 1-to-1 scale Minecraft recreation of the country, like, and then hosted a server. But I guess they didn't set block protection on or something, so they almost immediately had to shut it down because people were griefing and like blowing up landmarks and just like their neighbors' houses and stuff. Like, haha, take that,
Denmark?
Tim.
Yikes.
Denmark, I think.
It could have been.
I think.
But like, that's just wild to me. Like,
Damn.
that's innovative. That's like great.
well, and like you said for Satisfactory, I believe you said, you know, you'll sit down and then 8 to 9 hours later, you're like, oh, what happened?
Oh,
and
absolutely. Yeah.
That was my first experience with Minecraft. Was like, I saw these people playing it on this forum I was on, and I was like, these people are idiots. Like, this is a game about blocks. Like, I had this whole holier than thou thing, so I bought it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play this, and then I like punched a tree. I'm like, I can't figure this out. And then someone's like, you need to hold left click, you idiot. So then like I held it and I'm like, oh, okay. And then this, oh, okay. Oh, and then next thing I knew is the next morning and I'm like, ah, damn.
Yeah, for me, I like hit one of the blocks and then I woke up 2 years later. So
yeah. Just like, oh.
Like, wait, what are I have dreams of being a moderator for a server. I have dreams that, spending endless hours just just judging people's builds and, oh, what happened? Where did my life go? No.
Anytime he sees, anything ruby colored, he just like sweats. He's like, redstone. Ugh.
yeah, stop. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome games. Thanks, everybody. We are going to move on to our next topic now. The topics we must discuss. We just must discuss them because this is a podcast and it's serious. Yeah. Here's the part of the podcast where we ask the serious questions. I'm just going to ask some questions and just lob them out there, and whoever feels like they want to answer them, just feel free to go ahead. Our first question is, how did you come about making games? If it's an RPG Maker engine, how did you discover RPG Maker? Yeah, what's your game development story?
I choose you, Spicyroll. Go for it.
All right then. Dang. Okay. Well, RPG Maker. So I started with RPG Maker. VX. No, XP. Yeah, I started with XP, and like I was like, whoa, you can make your own RPG Maker. I love RPG Maker. I mean, I love RPGs, and just making games from RPG Maker XP to VX and then Ace, but never releasing them because every time I made a game, it was always very generic. Like, yeah, I have all the power. I'm the chosen one. I am destined to defeat the big bad ruler. And then, like, every time I go up an engine, it'd just be a certain twist and add on. But then, next thing I know, it's just like me gaining my knowledge of all the all the RPG games I've been playing, and I'm like, well, this doesn't seem like it's not gonna go anywhere. I'm not very passionate, and I don't find joy in this of a generic hero and whatnot. But basically, I just
you
felt
probably
like...
decided to do some less typical games, I suppose.
Yeah, basically. How I ended up starting a game was like, I wanted to put things that I wanted in a game. But yeah, one of my biggest influences is like say Undertale and Earthbound. So I just wanted to contribute and add those things plus all the things I love and would want in a game into a game. Yeah.
Totally. You just want to see happen what you've always sort of wanted to. You want to see games that were in your mind just sort of come to life, I guess.
Yeah, basically, like, I wanted to experience something that isn't out there. Sometimes, like, I would be searching in the Steam store and just scrolling just to find the game that I want to play, like, help serve that purpose, because I don't want another superficial time again. I mean, I'm not saying a lot of games are superficial. It's just like I like narrative, deep, touching stories that like touch your soul. I don't know how cheesy that is, but I'm
not cheesy at all.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm just trying to accomplish. And there's nothing wrong with a generic game, hero and whatnot. If that's what you like, it's just not what I felt like having anymore. But yeah,
it's really just about adding your voice. It's like you play a game and you go, well, what if, like, wouldn't it be cool if? And the next thing you know, you have an Ace Sprite license. You subscribe to like 5 different things. It's 5 a.m. You're drinking coffee. It just happens.
Yeah.
You just make the game you want to see in the world, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Would you say you were making it for yourself then, to begin with? Were you making the games for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, firstly, I was making it for myself, and then I wanted to share that and make sure that it would make someone else's day, or make them smile, or like make their life changed somehow. Because
I mean, like, I think like one of the like one of the fundamental differences between like indies and AAAs is that like AAAs have this laser focus on certain development, like you have to do it this way, whether or not like that's like like what you're talking about with building the game that you want to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with AAA games, they'll have their pillars, the three things that the game is built around, and everything has to cycle around that, because if it doesn't, then the gameplay loop falls apart or whatever. But like indies aren't restricted to that, they just kind of, because they don't have to worry about selling, 7 million copies to break even.
Yeah.
So they get to experiment with that, and you end up with a lot more kind of interesting takes on concepts, I feel.
Exactly. Words out of my mouth. Perfect.
And but you can have 3 tenets of something if you want, as you have ZServ with your game.
Oh, yeah.
You've defined, but you chose that. You chose that path. You're like, I want to go down this. And I just thought it was legitimately wholesome. Thanks, Spicy.
Yeah.
ZServ. Maybe we'll check your story out. What started you making games?
Well, really the path started like, it was probably around 2004, 2005. I was on the internet, as one is at that point, and I, growing up, I was really into Zelda. I still am. Like, I found this fan game called Ocarina of Time 2D by this guy called TRM or Daniel Barris. The only thing he did was embarrass himself, ultimately. Oh. But, he took on this, like, he was recreating Ocarina of Time in Link to the Past's art style. And it built an entire community around that that was called ZFGC, Zelda Fan Game Central. And so, like, I got started working with, like, Game Maker 6 or 7 or something, like, trying to like make really illegal, like, don't sue me Nintendo, Zelda games like in this engine. But then I kind of fell off of that, and then I think in 2015 or so there was a contest on a forum that I was a member of where like they wanted to do a RPG Maker game jam. Like, okay, here's 3 months, what can you make? And I committed to it, and I bit off way more than I could chew, as is generally the case for someone's first game. And then, like, after 2 years, like, it still wasn't done because I, like, hit a point where, like, I was just, like, roadblocked, and that led to me trying to make something smaller, more concise, that was like, all right, like, let's focus on what works. Like, how can I do that? And that led to Ephemeral Tale. So
what worked, what you were good at, or what you liked? What you liked in games, or both? So, like,
one thing that I've realized is that for me, I cannot write worth a crap. I am a terrible writer. Like, and so like, and so that's the thing, right? Like, Spicy was talking about, he wants to have this story that like really grabs you and connects with you and just hits you in the feels. And like, I can't do that. I'm not that talented, So for me, I ended up looking again to Zelda games for inspiration, because you look at how Ocarina of Time is written, or Majora's Mask, like, they're structured in this way of like, okay, here's what you need to know. It's, worded very straightforward. They have some flavor where like, oh, this guy speaks in like an accent, or, whatever, or like a Darunia, right? Like, he's very high energy, versus like King, the Zora King in Zora's Domain. Like, everyone remembers him squeaking his butt
Squeak.
across the thing. Like, and like, that's kind of what I mean, in that they inject their personality through actions rather than words. And so for me, that's kind of where I'm like, okay, if I can't write, let's focus on
The physical
making
aspect of things.
yeah, like gameplay systems, a game driven by gameplay systems rather than driven by narrative. Because
Yeah.
like with RPGs, you know, like take Persona, right? Like Persona is a narrative driven series. Like
Right.
if you want to get through Persona but you don't care about story, you are in for a bad time. That's like 40 hours of cutscenes,
Skip the
buddy.
story, no. Where's Persona 5 without the story? No.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you said earlier that you it might have been a slip of the tongue, but you said but I wasn't talented. But I feel like because you said you couldn't write a story, but I feel like it's about half of game development is sometimes just about like discovering your strengths and weaknesses and playing to that. Like
Right,
you might be
absolutely,
good
yeah.
at one thing and not so good at another thing, and I think it's sometimes for lack of a better term, a fool's errand to just try and create something in a genre or area that you aren't skilled in, because both you won't create games that are fun for others and you won't have a good time because people won't enjoy your game as much. They'll always be like, hey, the story's a bit, or something like that. So I think we all have our different skills and abilities, and it's important to just recognize those. That's half the battle sometimes.
Right. And there was a really cool dude named CSH Picone, I believe, on Twitter. He's a small time, reviewer. He does like Steam curator reviews, and so he had sent out a tweet asking indie devs to send him their stuff. So, I was like, okay, send it over to him. And like one of the things he remarked about on Ephemeral Tale was like, oh, it hits every trope in the book, but it's charming. And it's like, that's the whole point of tropes though, right? Is that like
It works.
they
Yeah.
work. So you just
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to TV tropes and I'm just gonna smack random and we're putting it in today. Like
But it also, your placement of them might have been quite, you put them in the right places as well, and you play to them. It's not about whether you use cliches or not, but it's like, how you use them. It might be it makes it charming, I suppose.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh.
And what makes it charming is that you, the creator, is using these tropes or assets and whatever and putting it in your perspective and how you want a game. So that's what makes it special.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great journey. Yeah, really love that. Yeah, Charlotte or Davionne, who would like to go first? What's your story?
David, go. Davionne.
Oh god, I'm on the spot. Well, so flash forward back to like 5th grade. I had no clue what I was doing, still don't. And I was like, hey, there's this program called RPG Maker. And like Spicy, I also love RPGs, so I gave it a shot. And I think my first game was called like Last Fantasy or something like that. So already on a roll out of the gate.
Original, do not steal.
But yeah, I made
this is
that.
OC.
And I just kind of kept making really bad, really generic games throughout the years. But eventually, when I got to high school, I was like, hey, I kind of like, there's like the possibility to like make this like an actual like, not professional, but like just more like I don't know, I can make my like big boy project now. So that's what I tried to do. I went through a few ideas and prototypes first, but it was senior year is when I came up with the concept for She Dreams Elsewhere. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna get this game out by the end of senior year in like 6 months.
What year was that?
That was the end of 2015, so 5 years ago. Yeah.
Oh.
Hey.
Yeah. So I wish I learned that lesson about scoping down a lot earlier.
But here's the thing, I if we liken it to Omori, I guess you didn't do a massive Kickstarter at the beginning and then have everyone expect from you and this sort of thing, deliver, but at least you got to make it at your own pace kind of thing without the pressure.
Yeah, that part is pretty nice. With the whole exception of like me being broke for the first few years.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I mean, it happens for any artist. But
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, then I got the Game Pass deal last year, and that like kind of made things better. Like it's like I've got like the fun to like finish the full game and all, but there still is that element of like, oh man, like there's kind of like not like a time like limit, but like more of that pressure. Especially now since like
Right.
A, I'm very much over this game, and B, I have a very, very expensive apartment to take care of now. So I gotta chop.
And a new cat.
And a new cat. Oh god.
Yeah.
Hey, new cat squad.
She is currently sleeping under my desk.
Yeah, mine are currently fighting. Well, playing, but being loud, so I keep having to mute and unmute.
Gotta
Mine's
love
sleeping
cats.
under my
And-
desk too.
Yeah.
Foot warmers.
And you have sort of like a film and TV background as well. Does that contribute to your game development or?
It does. I've been like involved like film and theater like way before games. So a lot of that like quote unquote knowledge like still transfers over. And I fully expect to be like more into film and TV like after this game comes out. Like, love making games, but oof, it's rough sometimes.
Yeah, the game development
feel your
processes can be super long and arduous. It's it's a big thing. But I think by the time it's done, hopefully you feel very proud.
I think
having been
once-
released.
Once you hit testing, man, like that's gonna be like changing for you. At least it was for me. Like, there's a difference between making it and then you sit there, you're control Ring everything, testing every little thing. Oh, there's a typo, whatever. But like when you have someone that has no understanding of what it is, and then you sit them down and they play that like for the first time, like that first, like, ooh, that's an adrenaline rush like nothing else. Granted, you've done physical events, so like I'm sure you have an extent of that already, but with the whole thing, ooh.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to like that moment because the stuff that I've shown off like from the game like so far is like barely scratching the surface of like the weird type of stuff that I do with it. So it's, I mean, don't get too excited.
Into the...
Weirdness.
Just kidding.
Weirdness.
You've caught me.
Cyberpunk hype. Let's go.
Oh no. Yeah, spoiler alert,
No,
Keanu Reeves, we got him in the game, boys.
Oh damn! Pixelated.
Yeah, he's playing all the
Quote
parts,
that, quote
including
it.
Thalia.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you for sharing your story. Charlotte, what's your story when it comes to making games?
I have like fish brain, so if I make bird brain in a second.
I think I had bird brain.
Yeah, I have bird brain with a goldfish in there. But I can't quite remember how I found RPG Maker. But I've always liked games, and PlayStation has always been my console, so I like those kinds of games, like Abe's Odyssey, Heart of Darkness, like the 2D kind of puzzle with a bit of grittiness in there. I saw
good
with
games.
XP. Yeah, they are. They're fantastic, and Soulstorm's coming out next year, hopefully. Just a remake of Exodus.
Yes.
I started with XP, and I just remember vaguely making a letter parcel delivery service game in the snow. Can't quite remember what became of it, because I don't have it anymore. Just making, like anyone, random things without any end goal. And I don't know if any of you remember, way back when YouTube was first beginning, they had a stream room. I don't know if you remember these. You could set up a room and people could chat in the room and do videos to all watch together and talk about and cue them. I don't know if any of you ever did that.
No, I didn't know that existed.
It's like way back when YouTube first started. It's not
That'll be
around
handy,
anymore.
especially this year.
Yeah, it would have been. That's where I found some of my friends and we talked about things and came up with stories. And those eventually became the foundation for like the game I'm working on now and other things I would work on. Just from talking in chat rooms, like, oh, this would be a cool idea. This would be a cool idea. Oh, this video thing, kind of stemmed from there. So that kickstarted me into working on them, because one of those ideas I was eventually like, this might work really well as a game than a story. And then I started trying to turn that into a game. It's basically how I started.
Excellent. Awesome. Great to hear. And then Risk Affliction later on.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
I'm curious. Quite a few, like, especially I'd say, Charlotte, Davionne, and Spicy might have animation backgrounds. Do you have backgrounds in animation at all?
Yeah, I got a first class in uni in 3D animation.
Oh wow, amazing!
I'm just self-taught artist, I guess. And then
Wow.
I just, experimented and it was like, hey, this is fun. This is what I love about making games. Doing the acids.
In your particular case, it's actually hard for me to believe that you're self-taught. It seems I've had people on the podcast who have official, jobs in animation and stuff, like Visitors from Dreams, who made Shooty and the Catfish, and yes, it seems quite remarkable.
I'm actually a psych nurse. That's my real job.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty lit. Pandemic is pretty lit. Just kidding.
Have you found that like that's leaked over into the game at all, where like you just have a day, or like there's an experience with a patient and you're just like,
Definitely. I mean, I'm just gonna tell you guys now that I market my game really wholesome because that's the route I want people to do, but there's not all wholesome in that game because in dreams there's also nightmares. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like at least 3. I'm not too sure about Ephemeral Tale, but at least 3 of games. It's about dream worlds, mirror worlds, things like that.
Yeah,
there's a mirror world.
Dream Squad.
Dream Squad.
Mirror world. Dream Squad. Yeah. Yeah. Very, very ethereal and fantastic. Excellent. That was a great deep dive into each of our stories, and now we're going to go into our next section, the question box. This is a segment where RPG Maker community users have asked questions related to game development and design that we probably don't know the answers to, honestly, but we'll try. Our first question comes from Nirwanda, I believe, or El Niro. That was their nickname on the Discord, from RPG Maker Central, and they are asking, hey, question for Charlotte, what inspired her characters? And what I'm going to add is anyone else who wants to answer this question, what inspired your characters too, can feel free to jump in and answer that. Starting with Charlotte.
I have a lot of characters, so I'll try and summarize them.
All of them. Go.
There's just a large supporting cast that all have their roles. So as a whole, I've always really liked circuses, and the main cast in Res Affliction are a travelling band of circus performers. So I've always loved circuses, and I saw quite a few of them when I was young, and even now, whenever one rolls into town, obviously not because of COVID this year, but whenever they've come into town or around my area, I've always gone and got a first row seat ticket and gone and seen it. And the person who works on the game with me, or one of them, I also took to see a circus for the first time. And he had an absolute blast with it, and I hadn't seen him smile so much, so it was a really good treat to take him. So my love of circuses, specifically for Res Affliction, is what birthed the characters. So I kind of took the roles in a circus. You have like a strongman, a magician, acrobat, that sort of thing, and then I personified those roles as characters. So there's Althena. She is an acrobat with a big head of hair, and she manipulates that hair. So I kind of thought with that it would be relevant to being an acrobat, because you could use not only your limbs but also your hair in acrobatics. A magician. I have a mute magician called Doreen. I thought it would be interesting to have a magician who couldn't talk, but he does it for a bird. So again, all magic based.
Oh, that's cool.
But that's basically what inspired them, is my love of circus.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like it's interesting that you talk about taking the traditional kind of archetypes of circus elements and presentation and bringing that into characters, because like that gives you some structure to work within,
Yeah.
but still gives you flexibility. And like, going back to what you said about the mute magician, like, again, the fascinating thing is that all you really have to do to be a magician is, cast magic. But
Yeah.
there's also a lot of like implied things by being a magician. Like, okay, they're flashy or they're loud because, we associate magicians with having to cast via wording. So the fact that like he has a bird that does it is just like, okay, we're going to take this and we're just going to like, expectations. No.
No, what are those? Yeah, subverting them is kind of the way I wanted to go with it.
True. Anyone else? Characters? What inspired your characters?
I would actually be fascinated to hear Davionne's answer to that, because like everything from the art to like the presentation of the story like feels character driven.
Yeah, I take from real life a lot most of the time. Both from my friends and like also just like myself too. And it's kind of like crazy where like a few weeks ago I was like having like troubles like wrapping myself like around like just like a few characters like within the game and like their personalities and their like role in the story. And I was like, oh man, like how do I make this work? And I realized that like the answer to like all of my like narrative problems like that just come down to just like, hey, put more of yourself into the game. Like just put like your one like personality trait that you don't like into this character. Put like your friends like way of talking and put it into this character. Like just stuff like that. So I don't know. I like
blow it up to
experiencing
10.
life. Yeah, exactly.
It's quite a vulnerable process, putting yourself in a game.
Yeah, it's a lot of me writing is just staring at a blank page and being very introspective and not really doing anything. And after like a few weeks of that, maybe one line of dialogue is written. So it's a good time.
Yeah. So
Well,
relatable.
And like to kind of build on that, like I know that again, like I don't find writing to be my strength. So when I'm doing like side quests, a lot of it stems from like, all right, I'm going to take this person that I know and I'm just going to blow up like their defining traits or how I view them to like 12. And an example would be I have a buddy named Brad who is kind of flamboyantly gay, but he also he can be kind of, when he has a way of viewing things, like that's how he views it. And so I wrote this character in Ephemeral Tale named Jesse who like, and this is the dumbest side quest in the world, but he was fishing and he lost, he for whatever reason had his grandmother's cookie recipe in his jacket and he lost it in the ocean. And he refuses to go get it because his jacket is very expensive and he doesn't want to ruin it. And he refuses to get naked because, well, look at this jacket. Like, it's so expensive. How would someone not steal this? And so it's like, I've taken these elements of like, okay, this is how he presents himself to the world. But like, what if this was ridiculous? And then like, all right, well, that's a side quest.
See, that to me is good conceptual writing.
Yeah.
I think maybe what you're saying earlier about is dialogue in particular. There's a difference between dialogue and then just being able to create concepts that are interesting and fun, or even engaging, And some people have one and not the other, so just it's
Yeah, I mean, like, I find that like the connective tissue that brings things together is really hard. Like Mark Rosewater is I think he's the head of R&D or he's like the lead designer or something. He's some big honcho at Wizards of the Coast. on Magic, and like they like to talk about how they have two ways of designing a Magic set, which is like top down, which is, you know, they build cards and then they have to build a world around the mechanics on the cards, versus bottom up, where they build the world first and then they build the cards to fit that theme. And like that's always fascinating to me, because like that stuck with me about like when I'm approaching something. Sometimes if I find that I'm stuck on it, I just need to change how I'm looking at it. Like instead of looking at it from mechanics first, look at it from what's an interesting story to tell, and then build mechanics that match that, or vice versa.
Absolutely. Just tie those together. Yeah. Anyone else want to talk about their characters? What inspired them, etc.?
I guess I'll just talk about the main two in my game. Roji, he's the ball orb thing, and then Jay, he's the dude. But anyways, Jay is basically a self-insert of me, and then Roji is basically, hey, like everything round the world, everything space. I don't know. It's just like a whole bunch of symbolism. It's kind of a spoiler if I really talk about him, but yeah,
no spoilers.
And a lot of the characters in my game are from dreams I actually had, so that's what inspired that.
Interesting. Any other character stuff you want to bring? What inspired your characters? No, we can move on. U7Q2NBWF from the RPG Maker Cola Discord. That's our Discord.
That's
People
a caption
go join
right
that Discord.
Yeah.
yeah. Randomly generated username, but maybe it means something to that person. I'm not going to assume. From the RPG Maker Cola Discord, go join that. Links in description, Twitter, wherever you can find them. We have a link tree.
A working link.
Yeah, a working link. That is true. We need a link. Yeah, my other link expired. Anyway, we won't dwell on that. So here's the question. You've got two questions. First question is, what made you choose the art style in your game? And does the art style achieve a specific purpose in the game that other styles wouldn't?
Zerv, I'm picking people now. You, go.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you go.
Oh, okay. So, what's actually interesting is, I had mentioned that in 2015, I kind of started like a project that ended up going nowhere. And around that time, I had seen a couple assets floating around, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I bought them with Christmas money. Thank you, Steam sales. And then later on, I was browsing itch, and I saw this amazing little set of dudes by this dude named Lucky Cassette that just were, they were beautiful. They blew me away. And it was like 100 dudes, and it was on sale. It was like $2. And I'm like, all right, well, that's got to happen. So I bought it, but then I'm looking at them, and I kind of just noticed, like, wow, like this is like cartoony and vibrant. And then, I compared to that pack that I got during the Steam Christmas sale, and it's like, this is cartoony and vibrant. And I realized that, like, they were giving me the same vibes that, like, Link to the Past gave me, where, like, Link to the Past, when you go into the Dark World, Link turns into a freaking rabbit. And, like, that's ridiculous. Like, why is he a bunny? That doesn't make sense. But it's cartoony and it's vibrant and it, like, contrasts really well. So, like, that ended up kind of driving everything else, where it was, like, kind of half working within my budget, where I don't think I've ever actually publicly stated this before, but the overall budget, including art for Ephemeral Tale, before it went into early access, was around $500. So it was like mostly just my time, but that was because I was trying to make the best I could with as little as possible. And I know that, like, good artists, like, that are worth the money and the time, like, you gotta just commit, and I knew that I couldn't do right by them. So, it was like working within the constraints of what I had. I will say that as the areas start to come together, the art style kind of coalesced. And even if you go look at the early access trailer that's on Steam versus the screenshots, you'll notice like the battle HUD has changed immensely. The presentation has changed immensely. Like there's lots of subtle little changes as it's been reeled in and refined. And that led to when a couple weeks ago, I commissioned this just absolutely brilliant artist named Artisy1 from Twitter. She normally does like Sonic stuff, but like I loved the way her use of colors was just like amazing. And so, I asked her if she would be willing to try something outside of that, and she made the beautiful piece that serves as like the box art on Steam now, and like the Twitter, like I'm using it everywhere. Like I'm gonna print it out, it's going on my wall, like I'll get made into a vinyl, put it on the car, whatever. It's beautiful. But like that was because the style had started from some vague concept of like Link to the Past, but different enough that Nintendo's not going to get up my butt. And then, just kind of solidified into like, we're going to edge closer. Let's make a company. Don't sue me. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess this goes with another question that I was going to ask later, but this is a question by ZServ, a guest on this podcast, who asks, are asset packs the dirty little secret behind indie development, or do you contract artists for your assets? It seems like you answered that.
Well, for me, they're the dirty little secret. I don't know if it's the dirty little secret for everyone else, but like I know that for me, like open game art has been amazing. Itch has been amazing. There have been artists that I've like Jason made a couple custom assets for Ephemeral Tale. Tim, the artist behind Shadows of Adam, he did the battle HUD. He did all of the icon work. Like he's done a few things for it over time too. Like, but I think that for most indies, depending on their scale, they may or may not be able to afford. Like, okay, they want that really nice sounding song, but like they can't afford the $120 a minute or whatever, like for their 7-minute
yeah. Don't put Dancing Queen in your game.
No.
Unless you have the rights. No. Yeah, actually, for the other three, I mean, combining with ZServ's question about asset packs and original assets and stuff, how did you approach the art style? Does it achieve a specific purpose?
For me, sorry, do you wanna?
Oh no, sorry, ladies first.
I was gonna say, for me in Spicy, it's a bit different as the artists who actually draw our own assets.
Right.
For us, for me, we have our own vision or art style that became the art for the game. I've never considered asset packs before because I've always drawn my own things or tried to make my own things.
So how do you guys approach like audio assets and things like that?
Give it a go. Just go in the microphone and make a silly noise. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there are some really good packs, especially on Humble Bundle sales. There was an audio-based one a while ago that's come incredibly in handy. What about you, Spicy?
In terms of the art or the music?
The art. Let's focus on the graphics.
Okay.
What influenced your art style for your game?
I guess what influenced the art style for my game is basically like, because my art style changes like every year. So when I draw and stuff, it basically influenced Roji's Room, and there's a lot of like artists that I really love, and they're very big inspirations, and it helped me create the art style that I have. And so my assets in my game are 100% like custom in terms of the graphic sense, because like I literally draw everything, and I like it's so hard, and I think it's like it's really rewarding, but I don't have a tile set. I literally draw the freaking map, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm killing myself here slowly, but it's gonna work out.
It's long.
And-
It's a long process.
It contributes to the very unique look of your game. Like it's noticeable. Like, yeah, it's definitely noticeable.
Yeah, and another thing is I don't know how to pixel art, so I just draw things and shrink them really, really small,
Yeah.
and then that's what makes my character sets. But yeah, it's right now I'm trying to go for more rounder shapes and stuff to give that more friendlier aspect when the player's playing the game, and then once it goes a certain route, everything's actually going to be more sharper. But I didn't say that, but yeah.
I mean, you do have a round character. You have a literal ball character.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's very cute, kind of like very thin, tall eyes, and just like black spots. Sometimes, oh well, in the some of the portraits, but then sometimes they're more detailed eyes and things like that, and
Yeah.
and very lovely art style. I love the bird, the bird bandit that you
Oh, hell
Yeah.
yes.
on Twitter.
That's my favorite.
Charlotte definitely loves that. She loves the burbs.
Fantastic.
But yeah, yeah, it's just very rewarding in a sense, and that's actually what helps me to keep going, is just to just draw things.
See them come to life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Davionne, how about you? The graphical art style of the game. How does that? What was the question again? How does it achieve a specific purpose? What was the reasoning behind I suppose the color scheme and everything that goes along with it?
Well, for me, as someone who has like no real like formal training in like art like at all, asset packs have been like my lord and savior. It was kind of weird too, because like when I first started this game, I was experimenting more with like pixeling like everything like out by myself, and that style was like a lot more like Mother or like Earthboundy. But then it was like one day I was like making like this like enemy graphic, and I pressed the wrong button in Photoshop and it made everything black and white, and I was like, yeah, that's wrong, but like it kind of goes hard. So,
But it's right.
yeah, exactly. So nowadays I pretty much just like kind of like went from there. And when it comes to like asset packs now, I use them more as like a building base.
Right.
And then from there I can just like customize it as much as I want. Some assets they take, just like a few clicks like actually like come together if you're lucky. Other ones I pretty much like do have to like redraw the entire thing from scratch to get what I want. But it's really great. It really has like allowed me to like actually be able to fake this game.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because like me and Z, like we use the exact like same like base asset pack.
Yup. Well, and it's funny because like I can relate to what he's saying about sometimes the Jason, the artist behind Time Fantasy, the base pack, has built it in a way that it's supposed to be fairly modular, in that like, okay, so for example, I recently introduced character customization into the game, and one of the things that I noticed was that there wasn't really a great deal of black characters in the Time Fantasy set. But what I noticed was that if I took the skin tones from one of the black characters and then applied it to other characters, I ended up with these really interesting looking like anime-esque, black characters with like, oh, okay, like this guy's got cool spiky hair and armor and it like looks really awesome. And like, so because of that modularity, you can kind of take something that was kind of built with one purpose in mind, but then, all right, well, it works for this too. And, you expand as you do that, you expand your knowledge of how these pieces fit together, and so that can really help too.
Yeah, I love the aspects of diversity in all of your games as well. Just like diverse experiences and bringing forth sort of different different aspects of stuff and keeping that in mind. I really love. Yeah, that's one thing about the RPG Maker community I also enjoy is that we're able to express the different places we come from, our cultures and things like that. It's really incredible. And also with She Dreams Elsewhere, I noticed the wonderful artwork by Nestorova as well.
Yeah, Yanina, she is absolutely incredible. I love her to death.
Yeah. I just look at these portraits, I'm just like, wow, incredible. They just
full of style.
It's simply,
What I like to imagine is that you showed her like a black and white pixel, and you were like, "Here's this, but drawn," and she was like, "Okay," and then she just like, "Cover art, here you go."
Honestly, that is pretty much what happened. I was like, "Hey, this is what the game is. I have like some ideas, but otherwise, like you do you. You're the artist here."
Yeah, and it adds so much to what is already such an evocative game, but having those portraits and so on is just adds that extra ambiance to it. It's a great choice.
Yeah, I have like all of the cover like illustrations like up at my desk, and it's one of those things that it keeps me going. Like I just love looking at it.
Yeah, I can bet. As for there's another question by the same user. How's early access doing for Ephemeral Tale, and what made you opt for it? And for everyone else, did you consider early access? Why and why not?
So, for me, I'd say early access is going really well. The biggest boon has, I believe the question was like, why early access, right? And it's like the reasoning behind that was that sometimes in retail you have this concept of a soft open, right? So before you open your store, you do a soft open, that way you can work out the kinks. Then you announce that the store is open, and when everyone rushes in, you already know where your issues are and how to approach that. With early access for Ephemeral Tale, this kind of gave us, me, the opportunity to, I'm trying to think of how to word it. It gave me the opportunity to see, because it was only me making it, all right, what are the issues with the systems that are in place? How does this, impact playtime? Like one of the things that was an issue originally was item scaling was way busted off the charts. People were hitting for 9,999 damage. Like it was nuts. So like being able to see that and then say, okay, let's adjust that, but then also know that I could build what they wanted, what players wanted, was really fun because we had a base and then we built on top of that. So it's like, again, I set out to have this loop of explore, fight, loot. So you explore a new zone, then you're going to fight some new enemies, you're going to collect some new loot so that you can explore more zones, fight more dudes, collect more loot. And it's, this beautiful little triangle. But when, you're making something, you never know how players are going to actually feel about that. So then seeing like, okay, they like it, okay, cool. So I can build more zones. I can add side quests, and like these are things that are obvious, but like you don't necessarily know what is the right fit until you see it happen. And so being able to just do changes, see what works, tweak it until it does, and just do this week in and week out has been really helpful for me. I'd say early access has proven immensely valuable for that very reason. Like for me, if I were to do another crazy RPG like this, I'd almost assuredly have some form of early access period just to work out the kinks.
Right. Would anyone else try early access?
Currently,
There's a lot of
no.
demos and stuff, but not like purchase demos. Per se.
The most I've done is just the free online demo that's been up, and that's been up since like December of 2018. Oh my god, that was 2 years ago. Jesus Christ. Well, all right, I'll deal with that existentialism later. But anyway, that's worked out really well just for like keeping up like interest in the game like over the past few years, and just like at least early on, just being able to like see people's like reactions and to like what they were actually gravitating to. So seeing that and like getting all that feedback was great early on. Going to like actual conventions and showing off was also great. Can't really happen nowadays, which sucks. But yeah, I think the demo route was really overall good, but I'm also like, I don't know, it's weird now because like I'll just like someone like
It's
tweet at me.
outdated, you know. It's like,
Yeah, they'll just be like, yeah, I just finished playing the demo, and I'm like, why are you playing it? It's like it's ages old.
I feel that same way, and like my demo came out in like June, but I'm like, it's changed so much. That sucks now. Like, but that's the funny thing, right? Like, because even just yesterday, I got a Discord message from someone playing the game, and they were like, okay, so like here's my feedback after playing. And one of the most important pieces of feedback that they gave me wasn't even feedback they meant to give me. It was just a question. You know, they're like, hey, so with this boss, is this how it's supposed to work? And like that was when I realized like, oh, my messaging was not clear enough. So then, you know, I literally opened the engine and I added more like coherent messaging to like, hey, this is what's happening. Like, this is what you're trying to avoid, things like that. But like if this was a game that was, for example, like if this happened when the game was coming out on Xbox, like, well, then I have to sit through cert, you know, that could take up to 30 days, you know, and that's assuming you pass the first time. So like with early access, you really get the ability to take that feedback in and react rapidly, which, you know, means that when it does, you know, finally come out, you have hopefully the highest quality product that you can make. But at the same time, some people have been burned by early access, so there's some apprehension there.
You have to balance it, yeah. KV Kingdom asks, and this is the last question for... Oh, sorry, no, we'll go... Oops, I missed a question. Is a question by Delson from RPGmaker.net who asks, Charlotte, how many crows do you have?
I had a feeling someone would ask something like this. I have many. I have a whole murderous murder of crows. Like, the sheer amount of murder I have, you cannot comprehend how much murder there is present everywhere. There's an infinite amount of murder. So that's how many crows I have.
That's how many. The amount of crows that will cause
many murder.
Yeah, you better be scared.
I'm spooked, dude.
They have knives.
He'll have knives.
So, sometimes.
Sometimes. They'll whoop one out. Yeah, and your name on Twitter is Crowlet.
Yes.
That's the name. Thanks, Delson. Next question is by KV King. Unless anyone else has crows. I don't think it's a question.
Disappointed.
Disappointed. We all got to get some more crows. KV Kingdom asks, this is the last question, for those who have used the RPG Maker engine, why RPG Maker and not another engine? Could you have used Unity or some other engine? Are you most familiar with RPG Maker? Is it the community that kept you on this engine? Are you chained to the engine? Is it something that's keeping you prisoner? Was price a factor of some sort too? Sorry, there's a couple of those sentences worded by myself, but just for emphasis.
Well, I have started to use Unity recently, specifically because of my demo. So I released a demo back in October for Resurrection. And before I released it, I was testing on different machines, like different computers, and having people playtest it. And for me, I was never happy with the way it performed, because I wasn't even using a lot of plugins or anything. But I was always concerned with like the frame dips, and seeing other people play it and it not, because I have a decent PC, so seeing how it ran on other people's computer kind of made me concerned. So I've become kind of unchained from it. I started off chained to it because of my skill level. I didn't know a lot about game dev or how to program or how to draw better or whatever. But now that I've done my demo, I'm kind of opening up and seeing what's outside, what else is there, and seeing if I can break free from the constraints of RPG Maker and see what I can do, and hopefully have something that performs what I want, better performance.
Yeah, that's important. I think RPG Maker is often a good stepping stone if you do want to eventually go to other engines, because some people can't go straight to Unity, But also, a lot of people can make great things still happen within RPG Maker.
Oh, absolutely.
Engine. Yeah. How about the others? Why RPG Maker?
Well, for me, I always just love to, I don't know, I just love like getting in the thick of like just creating stuff. And along with not being like an artist trained, I am not a technical person whatsoever. I had like C's and D's in math as a kid. But even so, with that, like just the fact that I could like mess around with it in 5th grade and it like still make something, I don't know, that was like always just really cool to me. So I think it's pretty accessible. I'm also kind of in a weird spot where I'm like using both RPG Maker and Unity at the same time. Yeah, so that's been a fun little adventure to go through. So if anybody out there wants to port their games to consoles, maybe start with Unity first off. It'll save you a lot of time, headaches, and money.
Exactly. Or you can just create an RPG Maker, then recreate the entire game all over again in another engine.
Yeah, pretty much. Pick your poison, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, same thing basically for what Lauren said or Davionne said, but it's the same thing for me. Like, I don't know how to code or any of that. I'm mostly an artist and who wants a story to tell in terms of gameplay, so that's why I chose RPG Maker. And back in the day, actually, I forgot to say this, but I used to be a heavy like contributor to the RPG Maker VX community when so there was this time where I was actually a logo creator where I'd create logos for their games, and I made this little shop in the RPG Maker VX forum where I'd make people's logos, and I made over 200 logos for free. But it's crazy.
Nice.
None of them were actually became games, but it was just a fun thing to do.
Classic.
Experience.
Yeah.
So.
Art experience.
Yeah, you have a great experience in creating games. So Rody's Room has the best logo of all time now because it's
very simple. It's just text.
Yeah.
Got it.
I can't remember if everyone's answered this or not. I think they have.
So,
ZServ.
Trying to think of how to put this succinctly. For me, RPG Maker started off as a necessity, but one of the things I learned as I was using it was that, Spicy just said that he doesn't know how to program. I don't know if he knows this, but he's lying to himself because he can use the eventing system. That's just visual programming. Like, one that
boom, roasted.
I don't think and I don't mean that in a negative way, right? Like, and that's what's funny is because one of the things that I really struggled with for a long time when learning actual programming, you're in a text editor or whatever, is that functions threw me for a loop. Like they are weird and they don't really make much sense because like you ask like, okay, well, what's the function? And then everyone's like, whatever you want. It's arbitrary code. And it's like, that's not an answer. But then like if you use RPG Maker for long enough, and then for me, the moment of like, aha, was like, I started using Unreal Engine 4 because it has a blueprint system, which is a visual programming system. And the best way I can think of to describe it is that it's eventing on steroids. And I learned through that, I saw a function in that and I went, oh, it's a common event. And then after that, I was like, okay, like functions now make sense to me. But like, when it comes to engines, I think that people tend to get kind of locked in a box. This is something that I feel like every dev does, where like take Something Classic made Shadows of Adam in their custom engine. Then they wanted to port to consoles, so their publisher ported the game to Unity. This led to console-specific issues that aren't available on the PC version. This means that like the PC version isn't like truly widescreen like the console version. So like now they're having to go back anyway, and like if they decide to, like if they wanted to make that equivalent, now they have to like go remake the game anyway. And that sucks, right? And like you have situations like Davionne's where like maybe it's performance or whatever systems they've gotten contracts for, but like they have to hit these systems and MV can't handle that or whatever. But I've found personally that no matter what engine you pick, you are always picking some compromise. With Unity, it's things like they drop support of pretty much every major system that they add like 2 versions later. It's like, oh, 2 updates have happened. They've dropped this. There's no documentation. What happened? With, Unreal, like a major issue is that while it's really great for 2D, it also is incredibly heavy. You don't want to release a game that looks like Ephemeral Tale and should be like 50 to 500 megabytes, but it's a couple gigs because it's got Unreal Engine behind it. Or like Game Maker Studio is really great at specific things too, but sucks with data management. And so like I feel like for me, I don't feel like I'm Chain RPG Maker, but I do believe that there is this, you can end up with a grass is greener situation until you get to the other side.
Right.
And like, Davionne had said that he's had issues and headaches with, consoles and all that. With Ephemeral Tale porting to console, I've also had issues, but most of my issues were due to the fact that MV is an HTML5 engine, and the Xbox console still uses the old version of Edge, not the Chromium one, and it does really very strange things to Pixie, which is the rendering engine behind MV, and it causes like weird frame thrashing. Once I switched from WebGL to canvas rendering, my frame rate like tripled, which is great for me, but like that's not applicable to everyone depending on how they're using the canvas and all that. So again, pick your poison. But yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think what we can gather from all that is that the best game engine is actually just either writing on a piece of paper or just opening Word doc and typing code and typing your story into there, and they'll become a game.
Yeah. Or just never making a game at all.
Or become an engine.
Read a book.
Pay someone else. Like
become the engine.
Well, and it's like, it's funny because you look at, there's a game out called Eichenfell by this guy, Chevy Ray, and you look at his Twitter, and he's made this beautiful game, it's, got this great story, this excellent gameplay, this amazing soundtrack, like all this stuff. But you read his tweets, and all you read is he's like, I'm done with games, man. This sucks. This is so hard. And it's like, yep, it is. But he still made something amazing despite that, like, and I think that no matter who you are, like, there's always going to be that kind of PTSD, war-shocked moment of, like, that time that you fought with whatever engine you're using to get it to do the thing you wanted it to. And, like, it was way harder than it should have been.
Yeah, every time I finish a game, I'm just, like, mentally spent. I've done, like, little event games and stuff, so I'm not really, like, the one big game type of thing. But every time it's like, oh my gosh, I've just spent an entire month and something. I just need to, like, collapse somewhere.
Yeah.
Must feel like that for every release. But yeah, that's great answers to these questions. I think that's the question box. I think that's really important to discuss what engine we're using. And next, we're going to go to our next section, the deep dive. Well, that's a sound effect. Welcome to the deep dive, or let's just kind of say the shallow dive, because we're kind of going to the shallow end here. We don't have much time left on the podcast to go deep into all 4 games. In fact, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to list the 4 games, generally what they're about, and then maybe ask some generic kind of questions on the surface, and so we can kind of finish, within the next day or two. Yeah, our first, we've got a game by Charlotte, which is obviously Resurflection, which is about the fictional universe of Abvar and taking center stage primarily at the coastal city of Horizon Bluff. It's got core themes of that big one, death and acceptance and treasuring what we have while we have it. They've got the parallels with the mirror and the real world. And then you got She Dreams Elsewhere, which is doused in color and mood and about dreams and the extent to which they mirror reality. It's got stuff about anxiety, about a comatose woman who delves into dreams and figures out inner nightmares. You got Roji's Room, which is wholesome, meditative, and but it's about emotions of friendships, but also about sleep paralysis, and adventure. And yeah, it's Undertale, Earthbound, Moon influences abounding. You got Ephemeral Tale by ZServ, which is the self-professed classically inspired RPG with handcrafted dungeons and the JRPG style combat, but also some Western RPG style stuff, I'd imagine. The Diablos, the Oblivions, Skyrims of it all. So those are the 4 games. So we've talked about art. We were actually going to talk about art, but we've talked about that in the question box for each game. But I think I'd like to talk about music as well. She Dreams Elsewhere has a sort of chill vibe to the instrumentals, with original music by Mimi Page, and Resurflection's got Jeff Moore, or Mr. G, on music. Apparently a very versatile composer. Roji's Room has Jude on the soundtrack, producing some boppin' tunes. Happy and Wholesome, and maybe perhaps others. And I'm not actually sure where the Ephemeral Tale music comes from. So yeah, let's just chat about music. Why did you choose the music that you did? Anyone can kind of jump in.
Well, for Ephemeral Tale, the music is not really done by one person. It's one of the things for me in, choosing tracks has been, like, you go to Open Game Art, like I said, and there's all these amazing musicians that have put out, work that is top notch, but, they're just looking to create and, like, hone their craft so that they can do the next big thing. And I've found that for me, that has been the source of most of the music for Ephemeral Tale. It's really come down to listening to just, literally hundreds of tracks and trying to find the vibe that fit what I was going for. Ironically, most of the time that hasn't been, like, the like theme of the song. Like, ironically, for the first, well, technically you can do them in any order, but the first zone, The Forgotten Forest, has its music is supposed to be pirate music, but like it didn't feel like pirate music to me. It felt like, oh, like this is kind of like prancy and like foresty and mythical almost, and so that was kind of where I chose that track for that purpose. I have had a couple of pieces done by the incredibly talented Tyler Meir, E-Rave from RPG Maker Net.
Right.
But there's been, most of it has been, like I go on Open Game Art, I find something, and if they have like a Twitter, I message them. I'm like, here's a free copy of the game. Like, thank you so much, and all that. But again, working within constraints.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, music on the other games. Yeah, someone can feel free to chime in.
Well, I might as well.
How did you choose your music? Yeah.
Go ahead. But so Mia Mimi, she reached out because she found my IMDb page, which is still up for some reason. She found that like back in 2016. She was like, "Hey, like I love your game, I love the concept, like I want to make music for you." And at first I was just gonna be like, nah, or just like ignore it, because like to this day I still get like emails like that. But
even I get them. I'm blown away by it. It's like,
yeah, game composers are just, they love shooting their shot.
They're hungry, man.
Yeah,
they're hungry.
Yeah. They're out there.
For good reason. But yeah, she reached out, and at first I was gonna be like, nah. But then like she was like really like pushing for it. She was like, hey, like I actually really love this concept, and she had like actually like done her research and everything. So I was like, yeah, why not? Let's give it the old college try. So we started working together like that. I actually sent her some new music requests like last week actually. So there's that part of the music, but then there's the licensed music, and that's like from just like local artists that I know, or just like smaller like indie ones. And a lot of that music is like a lot more like grounded, very like hip hoppy, very very vocal. And I don't really get to see a lot of that in games in general. And
yeah,
for me, at least for what I'm trying to do with it, like it lends like such like a unique like vibe to it all. Where I don't know, it's another part of the game that like where it keeps me going. Where I'm just like, yeah, developing it is like a pain in the ass, but if people can just like get to this one section and hear this one song, and all is right with the world.
Yeah, it's very unique. I love because it's not the usual kind of, I wouldn't say spa music, but it's sort of like, it's kind of, it's very soothing, but also got like a mysterious vibe to it.
Yeah, very, like I take a lot of influence from just like the whole like lo-fi movement in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a vibe, as they say.
Your game is lo-fi incarnate. It's
Yeah.
the whole game is
Beats
those
to-
vibes. Yeah.
Honestly, you could have like an alternate box art that's just like, Thalia, or Talia. Is it hard T or soft? Like TH?
Hard.
Okay,
Thalia,
so
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Talia, like you could have like her being the lo-fi girl, and,
Yeah.
just
Oh,
all that
you
as an
already got
alternate
that.
box art. Oh yeah,
10 hours of-
I
Yeah, it's a
forgot about
soundtrack
that.
art.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I
What was
remember.
that? Sorry. What was that?
It already exists.
Yeah,
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
it's on his
Okay.
Twitter.
Yeah, right there.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I remember
Right.
that.
Oh my
I was like,
goodness.
damn, that's sexy. I mean, yeah, it's great.
I do have a question for you, Davionne, because like licensing music, like you said earlier, I know that for AAA games, that eventually kind of like is kind of weird because you have like, okay, they update GTA because the license runs out or whatever. Have you found that for you, because you're working with local artists, that you're able to be more flexible with that, or like what has that process been like for you?
Yeah, in general, it's been like a lot more flexible. I also have like a really good lawyer that I get to work with too. And yet, thankfully, we haven't like needed to like do too much on like the legal side. It's just kind of like a standard contract and rate or whatever. But
Yeah.
honestly, a lot of the times it'll just be like me being like on Instagram or whatever. I'll be like, hey, this song is dope. Can I like, do you want it in a video game? And they'll be like, yeah, sure, here you go. It's just like, that's pretty simple.
That's awesome.
We need to create an actual, like, YouTube video for the She Dreams Elsewhere lo-fi chill hot beats.
Yeah.
Needs to
agree.
happen.
We'll see. We shall see.
Does anyone else want to talk on the music of the game?
I would love to. So, for me, in my story with my composer, he actually had a YouTube video called "How to Make a Hit Indie RPG, Hit Indie Narrative Game," and has like all the games I love, like from One Shot to Undertale to The Moon. Basically, talks about like all the narrative games, like. And basically, I didn't know he made music, and he made another video about music. And then I was like, damn, your music is so good. And then I was like, I really love this person. So I hit them up, and this was like a year ago. And then they replied to me like, yeah, I'm down to commission. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then basically we became like best friends, and because we both love Toby Fox, because his music really, good, makes you emotional, and his game in general. We basically just talk about him forever. But anyways, he's heavily influenced by him. So his sound himself, his tracks, his music has emotion in his tracks. So I'm just very blessed to have him. But he basically is like my best friend now, and we just hang out and talk and everything. And it's a plus that he makes music that really expresses emotion. And I'm just, yeah. His name is, he's awesome.
It's
Thank you,
funny
Jude.
that you talk about how you guys kind of became best friends, because it reminds me of an excerpt from another podcast where it was Danny Baranowski, I believe is his name, and he's the composer behind like Crypt of the Necrodancer, Cadence of Hyrule, all
Ooh.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
very good
And
game. Yeah.
he was talking about how he got to work with, I believe his name's Grant Kirkwood, the old Rare composer that did like Donkey Kong Country,
Banjo-Kazooie.
Banjo-Kazooie and all the Rare classics. And he said he worked with him on some random game, but then he was really nervous the first time because he looked up to this guy, and then like they just kind of became best friends, and now they just send each other offensive text messages all the time, like, "Hey, go die" or whatever. And it like. You saying that really reminded me of that, like.
That's what kind of ended up happening with my composer as well. I was looking for a composer. I was looking for someone I could talk to, not just client basis, but just talk to as a person. And we ended up vibing and just ended up talking to each other like friends. And then he does music for me, like his name's Geoff, and really, really fantastic person, super friendly, and also makes games himself.
Nice.
He made, I don't know if you've seen it, I think it's called Moop or Meep. It's a short little game jam game on
Oh, yes.
Moop, yeah,
Yeah.
it has the distinct
I know that
pixel
game.
style, yeah. He made that, and Oko and a bunch of other little RPG Maker games, and he does his little experiments in Game Maker as well. A really, really nice person and super friendly. If you ever want to work with someone for music and just have a laugh with him, he's a genuinely really nice guy and super chill.
Oh, their games are so cute as well.
Yeah, they're
Oko
all
and
very
Moop.
cute.
Yeah.
And that Moop one is surprisingly wholesome and feelsy a little bit as well.
Yeah, so good. It reminds me of like a cast of characters that are all just BMO from Adventure Time.
Yes, yeah, he's a big fan of Adventure Time, so it makes sense that the influence is there.
Yeah, it's great. And just to kind of top it all off, what about the process of making your game went well? What kind of what went well for you? And then what do you think was what were the kind of challenges that you faced? So what went well? What are you proud of?
Everything.
I feel that.
Yeah, what were you proud of, and what are you proud of about your game? And then what do you think took a little more time to get off the ground?
If I can chip in, I'd say with RPG Maker MV, figuring out Dragon Bones. Because at the time, Dragon Bones had zero documentation, absolutely nothing on Dragon Bones, or it was all in Chinese.
What's this? Sorry, Dragon Bones?
Yes, it's a free piece of software that lets you free piece of animation software where you can rig 2D images like 3D and animate them like 3D mesh.
It's similar to Spline.
Yeah, Spline. Yeah. It's like that, but it's a free piece of software, and there's compatibility with it in MV. There's like a plugin you can use to make it work in there. But there's basically zero documentation on it. And
you just had to hack your way through it.
Yeah, people had no clue how to use it, and under the assumption that it was something else. Like, people didn't even realize it was a piece of software. It was animation software, so no one had any idea. But getting that to work, and then the eureka moment of actually using it and going, oh, I can do this, or I can animate that, or I can... I don't actually make the character move. I do the whole illusion thing in Dragon Bones, but it looks like it's moving, something like that.
Yeah.
Was the best thing.
And it ended up being pretty useful to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's what brings a lot of character, I think, to my battle system. It's my favourite part of it, and that overcoming that, I think.
Yeah. Any more triumphs, challenges?
I mean, I'll say that, like, to build on Charlotte's last point about, it bringing life to the battle system. For me, and I know that to a lesser extent, maybe not a lesser extent, I don't know to what extent, I'm not speaking for him. Davionne here, there's a plugin maker named Mog Hunter that does a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You can go and you can look at the HUD for the battle HUD for, She Dreams Elsewhere or Rosie's Room or Ephemeral Tale. And, like, these are 3 entirely separate games that have entirely different aesthetics. But, like, you look at the fact that, like, this is stemming from, like, one plugin, and the fact that, like, this guy made it so customizable that you can really just do your own thing with it. And like, that's incredible to me. But he also has, like, one called Battler Motion. All the enemies in Ephemeral Tale are still images, but they stretch and squash in order to give them the appearance of, like, moving. And that adds so much life to it that you don't even know is missing until it's gone. So like that's
such a useful scripter.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Adding on to it, basically a lot of my scripts are from Mog Hunter. Just like you said, it's just very customizable with your able to just put in the graphic and whatever. But going on to that challenge, basically is just to create what you want to create, but then RPG Maker has those limitations, and sometimes I was able to make, like, the game system more narrative based by actually just try to flip it and try to make it like, what would you do with this limitations, and just try to break through. And that's basically and try to make it more, game changing. Just like how One Shot did with their stuff, but they just have a really good programmer and director. So, but yeah.
And I mean, to build on what Spicy's saying about, like, you hit these challenges, like, one of the challenges for me was that I wanted to make a looter, and by that I mean something akin to Diablo, Destiny, Torchlight, something where, like, you're getting heavily randomized loot. And that's not really possible in the engine, like, out of the box.
Right.
But, there are plugins that let you do certain things that are kind of janky, I'm not going to lie, but then, like, you can... they're like, a lot of the ways that I handle item effects are that there's I think it's one of the action sequences that lets you run code at certain points in, it might be Skillcore from Yawnfly. Some plugin exists that lets you execute arbitrary code, like, at some point. And so I started writing functions that would check for states, right? So like I have states at the beginning of every fight. There's a common event that runs that checks if the player has certain pieces of equipment on. If they do, then it applies an invisible state that is then referred to this function that says, okay, well, this is the case, so we're going to treat the battle differently now. And this has led to like kind of systemic gameplay where like one of the items, for example, is called the Mushroom of Remembrance. Whenever your companion in battle dies, you become enraged and you just whack the crap out of whatever is in front of you, and you can't control yourself. And we saw a build prop up where like someone made a crit build that also focused on healing on crit, but then added that item into it, would go take a companion into a dungeon and then just let them die. And then they turned the game into an auto battler where like they were just mowing through dudes and could not die because they were critting so much and healing so much.
Sheer force of will.
And it's like, yeah, and this is something that like whoever, Kadokawa, when they made this, they were not like, this is what we expect people to make. Like, they would probably see this and go, oh no, what, baby, what is you doing?
What
like,
have you done?
That's not okay. You know, and like, that's, for me, that's probably the thing I'm most proud of, is that like, I continuously go like, oh, I don't think I can do that. And then I'm like, well, okay, let's break the engine a little bit more. And then
see if we can bastardize the engine to create some monstrosities. No, yeah, and also just the emergent gameplay that can come out of it as well is quite an interesting prospect.
And I mean, again, like a lot of that comes from like playing a lot of Borderlands 2 when I was younger, and seeing how, to give a specific example, the B shield in that game broke everything. And so like to be able to see something like that happen is something that I made, where I'm creating these individual pieces where I'm trying to say like, okay, this, like, I'm trying to create pieces that I know this might break something, but it's probably going to be really cool. So like, we're just going to put it in anyway. And then like, it's fun.
Like, it's fun when they break. It's a feature, not a bug, at least for a little while. You know?
Yeah.
Happy accidents.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else have any triumphs or challenges of the game that they'd like to share, or is that?
I'd say like the biggest challenge for me would just, especially nowadays, just like keeping up that like motivation and like discipline to actually like work on it.
Oh yeah.
And you know, especially with the pandemic going on, where, you know, before, you know, this whole thing went down, I was like working mostly out of like this co-working space. And it wasn't like a game dev like specific like space. It was like mostly just like startups and like accountants and real estate people. But they were really cool, and it was really dope to just like have that like in person like feel, even just to like either, you know, get feedback on something real quick, you know, just talk about whatever, stuff like that.
Well, and especially like from people like, if they're in real estate, they may not even play games. So like having that outside perspective is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though like I get those questions of like, oh, how do you sell a video game? Like, how does this work? What is this? That's kind of annoying, but like every now and then it has its moments like that.
Yeah.
But now it's like, you know, I had a realization a few weeks ago, like I pretty much just wake up and stare at screens the entire day, and that's pretty much it. And it's been a real it's kind of been a real bummer to like not have those like real life experiences to like just get inspired and to draw from.
Yeah.
So that's a bummer. But I guess overall, like the biggest triumph was just like the fact that like I'm even able to make this game and people actually like apparently like it somehow, and I've like made just so many like dope friends and like learned so much. And yeah, I don't know, it's, for all of its challenges, I would not want to be doing anything else. Maybe besides like filmmaking or photography, but being creative in general, you get the point.
Well,
Totally
for what
agree.
it's worth, as far as motivation goes, I'm someone that struggles with motivation a lot myself. And I found that for me, there were two specific things that helped. One was some GDC talk that pointed out that like whenever your brain works best for creative things right when you wake up and right before you go to bed. So like I typically dedicate like the first 2 hours and last 2 hours of my day to Ephemeral Tale, and then I'll fill in 4 more hours throughout the day somewhere. But the other thing is I try not to be like, you have one of those days where it's like you're stuck on a problem, you just can't get through it, and then you're like, oh gosh, like I'm not making anything, nothing's getting done, like I can't, like you get stuck in that headspace. For me, I find that the saying that helps me is, Rome wasn't built in a day. So I just try and, I look at it and I go, okay, even if it's just planting down one tree on a map or changing one icon or writing one line, like, well, you do that over a month, you've got like a quest or something new that you can show, like, and that adds up. So
put your RTP seed in the ground and just sort of maybe water it and just say, I'm done for today. It'll grow overnight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what keeps me motivated as well is actually taking a step back and taking a little break and, play games to study or actually work on yourself, You gotta take care of the game developer who's working on the game. So I try to like meditate or do yoga or actually go hiking in nature and stuff and try to do things that I want to do. And then it helps me with my energy to work on my game. And yeah, it's kind of self-care, self-love.
Yeah, totally.
It's super important, man. It is.
Vibes and chill.
Yeah. I think we'll start wrapping it up here. It's been incredible talking to all four of you. I know we could go on, but it's just it's all four of your games. Looking forward to just how you continue in the future with what you're doing, and it's been exceptional having you on board. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a blast.
A cozy corner.
Cozy corner indeed. I do have one last question to ask you. If you could say one thing to the listeners right now, what would it be?
Drink some water. I know you ain't drinking nothing today, bro. Drink this.
Yeah.
Yes, stay hydrated.
Take care of yourself, because there's only one you in the world and one life, so make the best of it.
Man, he took what I was going to say. Okay. Well, what he said, but also, I love you. Go buy Ephemeral Tale, bit.ly/etail. It's $10.
Actually, I was going to, say, you can promote. Now's the time to plug or promote anything you'd like to, each of your games. So go ahead. We'll start with Charlotte.
I mentioned it earlier, but my composer Geoff made that game a Moop. I think it's Moop, Moop, and it's on itch.io. If anyone wants to play a short, wholesome little game jam game in RPG Maker with a distinct art style, go check it out. And it has some good tunes as well.
Yeah, Charlotte on Twitter is at charlottezxz. Currently making RPG Resiflection. That is on Twitter it's at Resiflection with 2 S's, 1 R. And all these links will be in the description as well. Go ahead and download and try that out. As for Davionne, sorry. What do you got to plug today?
Oh god.
LTTstore.com.
What's your stuff?
I have a different recommendation. Going with the whole take care of yourself. Just log out of social media for just a little bit, cleanse, even just a few minutes. Beyond that, go play Ariel Ios's games on this call. Go buy Ephemeral Tale, give him some money. and then give Street Dreams elsewhere some money when it comes out. Because I still have student loans to pay. So, anytime.
Yeah. Yeah. She Dreams Elsewhere. Coming soon. Follow Davionne at Davionne Gooden. That's DAVIONNE GOODEN. Or Studio ZServ. That's Studio ZEVERE. That's at Studio ZEVERE. And go follow.
If you want. It's a free country. Free world.
Yeah, you have to. Everyone has to. Now that you've listened to 2.5 hours. Yeah. Spicyroll.
Oh. Oh yeah, it's my turn. Okay. So, yeah, these are amazing developers. Make sure to keep following them and see how we pave the RPG Maker community forward. But anyways, I would like to say that currently I'm working on the Kickstarter stuff for my game and the demo for it. So I will have my Kickstarter with the new demo that's at least like an hour long, probably around like January, February. So
January.
well, no, not January. That's no. I mean February or March. Sorry, February or March.
About to say you got
Anyway,
2 days.
Keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for that. Get your wallets ready because this is worth investing in. Just give all your money. Give all as much money as you can afford during this time. Yeah, invest all your stonks in Roji's room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's coming very soon at Roji's Room RPG on Twitter. Follow there. And we have ZServ from Dawdling Dog Limited. What do you have to play today?
Well, first off, all these wonderful folks' games, whether it's Resurflection, She Dreams Elsewhere, or Roji's Room, check out for that Kickstarter. You're going to be able to watch it soon. It's going to be sick. You're going to like it. But if you really want a game that has crazy pixel art, crazy colors, and it's kind of weird, go check out My Familiar. It's at My Familiar on Twitter. Kickstarter coming eventually. Is going to be sick. That's from my buddy Preston and some other buddies of mine. It's going to be sick. Check it out. Otherwise, stay beautiful, drink water.
I would second that. That game looks absolutely fantastic.
My Familiar.
Does look good.
I need to get familiar with that one. Yeah. And also follow at Dawdling Dog Ltd. That's at Dawdling Dog Ltd. Or at ZServ on Twitter. They'll have a bunch of updates there, I suppose.
Yes.
And buy Ephemeral Tale. Buy it. Go ahead.
Buy Impossible to Say Tale. Yeah.
Ephemeral. There we go.
No, everyone struggles with it. It's like, dang. I should.
Dog. Can it be pet? Is there a dog?
Yes. You can actually. There is a dog in the game that you can recruit to be a party member.
I'm sold.
There we go.
Can you pet it though? Is the question.
Yes. You give him pets and bones, and he gives you loot in return.
That's all I need to hear. We're good. Already in the cart.
Yikes. Watch out, Nintendogs. You've got a contender.
Coming for you.
A contender in the... Yeah, coming for you. All right, that's our podcast. Thank you, listeners, for listening to RPG Maker Cola, your source for everything fizzy game development and design related. It's been awesome having these guests on board. I'm sure you've learned a lot. And these they're very happy to have them there. My words are failing me. It's been 3 hours. I'm going to end it here. Thank you for listening. Bye now, everybody.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Drink water.